Today I'm going to talk a little bit about stress. And first I want to talk about the difference between acute stress and chronic stress. As you can tell probably from the name, there is a big difference between the two. One is more short-term in duration, one is more long-term in duration. You could maybe make the simple example of if you have family coming to visit versus if you have family coming to move in with you. One could be acute, the short term, the other is more long-term. However, it's not to minimize the effects of it. Certainly if people have acute stress repeatedly, that's certainly very difficult as well. Certainly, you'll see that kind of fatigue a lot of times with parents of small kids because they're constantly kind of going and going and going, and that's something that's challenging for them. Running late for work, that's something that comes up as a more common small one, not something that's very big, or even, a difficult customer with your work. More chronic stuff can be things that are more health related. We do a lot of work with Flatwater Foundation, and those are people and families that are affected by cancer, and certainly that's something that's very, very chronic in its nature and very much of a more long-term stressful thing depending on the exact diagnosis and outcome of that. Also, financial stuff can fall into there too. If people are struggling financially, that's not something that generally quickly resolves itself. It takes time, but that absolutely can be a big stressor for relationships, and certainly in today's market where people have high student loans, homes are more expensive. We see a lot of that too. Marital problems, divorce, things that are more academic in nature too, people getting ready for college and putting a lot of stress on themselves, people that are in college putting a lot of stress on themselves, and certainly the next chapter of that always tends to be work and people putting a lot of stress on themselves with different jobs, or the jobs putting a lot of stress on them. So those are all different things that are important to be aware of the different types of stress that are there and how they can manifest themselves.